नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। नाउ काफी कुछ चल रहा है बांग्लादेश के अंदर। हमने काफी टाइम से हम देख रहे हैं कि भाई चीजें एस्केलेट की जा रही हैं। काफी हद तक दे आर बेसिकली गेटिंग एस्केलेटेड लेफ्ट राइट एंड सेंटर। एंड हमको ये भी दिखता है कि भाई बांग्लादेश की तरफ से एक कोशिश की जा रही है कि साहब आपको इंसाइट किया जाए। एंड दैट्स समथिंग आल्सो वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड। बाय द वे, राजा जी विल जस्ट जॉइन अस इन अबाउट 2 minutes। वो अपनी थोड़ा सा देयर वाज अ लिटिल बैकग्राउंड नॉइस, तो उसको थोड़ा सा सॉर्ट आउट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। ही विल बी बैक, बट बाय दैट टाइम मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक इंट्रोडक्शन देता हूँ इस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में और थोड़ी सी चीजें बताता हूँ जो मुझे दिखती हैं होती हुई। और जब मैंने आपको बोला था कि देयर इज सम थिंग्स व्हिच आर टेकिंग प्लेस एंड कुछ चीजें आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉपर इनपुट। मेरे को तो ऐसा नहीं है कि सुबह मोदी साहब से मेरे को डायरेक्टली फोन आया, ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है। बट जो मुझे चीजें पता चल रही है, जो चीजें मैं देख रहा हूँ, 2+2 4, व्हाट ऑल आई कैन एनालाइज, आई एम गोइंग टू पुट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू। देखिए, 2-3 चीज़ें हैं। सबसे पहले आप देखेंगे जब से ये रेज़ीम चेंज हुआ है, देयर हैज़ बीन एन एंटागोनिज़्म टू भारत। तो ये काफ़ी हद तक हमने बताया था कि यार ये तो डीप स्टेट का काम है, राइट? एंड वी नो दैट फॉर अ फैक्ट। हैविंग सेड दैट, हमने एक और चीज़ देखी कि साहब जब से ये चीज़ हुई है, दे दे ट्राई टू एक्ट अ लिटिल ओवर स्मार्ट एंड अपने आप को एक ऊपर वाले पेडेस्टल पे खड़े करने की कोशिश करी है कि साहब हमारे से बेटर कोई देश नहीं है। एंड एज़ अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट भारत को हमसे सीखना चाहिए, ठीक है? उसके बाद वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट वी आल्सो सॉ दैट जब ये चीजें हुई तो वहां पर एंटी हिंदू वायलेंस शुरू हो गया, ठीक है? तो ये चीज हमने देखी है सबने। एंटी हिंदू वायलेंस होते होते जो चीजें, जो एक नैरेटिव इनके यूनिस जो है, इनका जो डीप स्टेट का टट्टू है उसकी तरफ से निकला, वो क्या निकला? एंटी हिंदू के वायलेंस के बारे में उसने बोला कि साहब ऐसा है, वायलेंस तो हो रहा है, अब देखिए पॉलिटिकल वायलेंस हो रहा है। हमको ये नहीं पता ये एक्चुअली एंटी हिंदू वायलेंस है कि पॉलिटिकली ड्रिवन शेख हसीना के जो सपोर्टर्स ज्यादातर हिंदू थे, उनके ऊपर वायलेंस चल रहा है। तो उसने ऐसे करके ब्रश ऑफ करने की कोशिश करी। पहला उसका डायलॉग ये था। उसके बाद उसने घुमा के बोला कि साहब ऐसा है, नहीं नहीं, ये जो वायलेंस जो भी चल भी रहा है, ये बड़ा ओवर एग्जैजरेट हो रहा है इंडियन मीडिया की तरफ से। तो ये ऑब्वियसली पता चलता है कि वहां से डीप स्टेट की तरफ से जो इसके हैंडलर्स हैं, उन्होंने उसको बोला था, यार तूने तो एक्नॉलेज कर दिया, इंडिया में तो लोग कूद रहे हैं, ये क्या क्या किया तूने? जस्ट शट अप एंड एक्चुअली टर्न अराउंड एंड पुट द ब्लेम ऑन इंडिया कि भाई भारत की तरफ से ये सारा कुछ आ रहा है, तो हम कुछ नहीं कर रहे, ये तो पूरा एग्जैजरेटेड है, थोड़ा बहुत ऐसा तो कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा, यहाँ पर एवरीथिंग इज फाइन। तो अगर आप देखेंगे कि ये चीज जब उसने बोलनी शुरू करी, तो डीप स्टेट के जितने भी उसके हैंडलर्स हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल जॉन डैनियलोविच, डेविड बेगरमैन, मैं आपको इनके प्रोफाइल्स दिखाता हूँ। आई विल जस्ट शो यू, आपको दिखेगा कि किस तरह से ये कवर अप करने की कोशिश करते हैं, ठीक है? तो काफी हद तक ये कवर अप करने की कोशिश करते हैं टू अ पॉइंट दैट देव नाउ बिकम सो रैबिड कि भाई कुछ भी अगर भारत से कुछ बोला जाए तो उसको फटाफट काउंटर करने की कोशिश की जाती है। देखिए, सबसे पहले जॉन डैनियल्स की प्रोफाइल देखते हैं। अमर सोनाल बांग्ला तुम्हें बालो बाशी, ये इसने पिन करके रखा हुआ है। कब? अगस्त 5 को। तो आपको दिखना चाहिए, ठीक है? अब ये फैक्ट चेकर भी बन चुका है, ठीक है? तो ये वीडियो यहाँ का नहीं है, ये वीडियो वहां का नहीं है, ये चीजें भी इसने करनी शुरू कर दी हैं। तो फैक्ट चेकर भी बन गया है। अब आप देखिए, आई विल शो यू, या the change in government in Bangladesh has triggered a surge of inflammatory rhetoric from the Indian press and a flood of disinformation, hate from Hindu nationalist social media networks. सी, जब भी आप ये चीजें देखते हो तो आपको एक चीज बड़ी क्लियरली समझ में आनी चाहिए कि साहब ये तो ऑब्वियसली दिस इज अ मोटिवेटेड गेम। नेत्रा न्यूज एक न्यूज आउटलेट है जिसका बैकिंग कौन है, ठीक है? कैन यू इमेजिन, ये पूरा न्यूज आउटलेट इन लोगों ने बनाया है फोकसिंग ऑन बांग्लादेश। इसका कंप्लीट बैकिंग आता है नेशनल एंडाउमेंट ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी, जो डीप स्टेट का एक पार्ट है। डेविड बेगमैन एक और है ये बंदा, ठीक है? किसका है? नेत्रा न्यूज, अल जजीरा। तो बेसिकली तू मेरी पीठ खुजा, मैं तेरी पीठ खुजाऊंगा, विद पर्टिकुलर इंटरेस्ट इन बांग्लादेश। इसकी प्रोफाइल चेंज हुई है करीब 1.5 महीना पहले, जब इसको ऑब्वियसली पैसे मिलने शुरू हुए होंगे कि साहब तू कुछ कर, तू भी घुस जा इसके अंदर यार, अल जजीरा को भी घुसना पड़ेगा, ये नहीं तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगी। अब देखिए, लुक एट द, यहाँ पर बैरी गार्डनर ने, जो एक एमपी हैं यूके के पार्लियामेंट के अंदर, इन्होंने एक आज स्टेटमेंट दिया कि जिस तरह से हिंदू कम्युनिटी को टारगेट किया जा रहा है, यू कैन एक्चुअली सी, और प्रीति पटेल ने भी स्टेटमेंट दिया कि भैया बहुत खराब चीज है। नाउ यू सी, देयर आर सम शॉकिंग एंड शेमफुल अनट्रूथ्स कंटेनिंग इन पार्लियामेंट्री क्वेश्चन बाय सो एंड सो। आप ये देख रहे हैं कि भाई दे विल व्हाइट वॉश एवरीथिंग। तो पूरी तरह से एक जो हिंदू का एंटी हिंदू जो चीजें चल रही हैं, उसका नैरेटिव को व्हाइट वॉश करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। नाउ कैन यू इमेजिन, दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ प्रेस मीडिया दैट दे कमिंग आउट विद, सो दैट दे कैन एक्चुअली कवर अप जो चीजें चल रही हैं उनके उनके देश के अंदर, एंड कल तो जॉन डैनियलोविच और अभिजीत अय्यर मित्रा का तो काफी झगड़ा चल रहा था, बैक टू बैक ये चीजें चल रही थी। अब आप देखेंगे जॉन डैनियलोविच तो एक आदमी है जिसको बाय द वे $2 लाख मिलते हैं ये काम करने के लिए, ठीक है, $2 लाख। नाउ बांग्लादेश के यूनिस की तरफ से स्टेटमेंट भी आते हैं कि साहब शेख हसीना ने सब कुछ डिस्ट्रॉय कराया है, हमने तो कुछ करा नहीं, सब कुछ बढ़िया है, एवरीथिंग इज परफेक्टली फाइन, ठीक है। लेकिन इनकी मीडिया की तरफ से काफी हद तक सच्चाई भी निकलनी आनी शुरू हो चुकी है, दैट्स समथिंग दैट वी आर आल्सो सीइंग। बट काफी टाइम तक चीजें थोड़ी शांत थी। सडनली हमने देखा, अच्छा राजा जी आ गए हैं, सो लेट मी जस्ट टेक हिम इन एंड देन वी विल कंटिन्यू आवर कन्वर्सेशन। फैंटास्टिक। सडनली तो राजा जी एक छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दे रहा था मैं, जो लेट मी जस्ट फिनिश दैट एंड आई विल ब्रिंग इट ओवर टू यू। सडनली हमने देखा कि जो एक मीडिया नैरेटिव था, ठीक है, पूरी तरह से बदला गया, क्योंकि सडनली क्या हुआ, इस्कॉन के ऊपर एक फोकस आना शुरू हुआ, क्योंकि इस्कॉन वालों ने प्रोटेस्ट करने शुरू करे और बोला कि साहब ये जो कचरा चल रहा है ये बंद करो, ये ठीक नहीं है। एंड एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट इस्कॉन वाज इन द फोरफ्रंट ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग ऑल द प्रोटेस्ट। अब जो चिन्मय दास जी को पकड़ा है, उसमें इन लोगों ने बोला है कि जो बंदा पकड़ा है वो उसकी गलती क्या है कि उसने जो एक बांग्लादेश के फ्लैग के ऊपर एक भगवा झंडा फहराने की जरूरत करी, तो उसको एक सेडिशन के चार्ज पे उठा लिया। इसका एक लॉयर था बेचारा, मुस्लिम लड़का, उसको मार दिया कोर्ट के बाहर ही, ठीक है। अब दूसरा लॉयर था, उसको भी मार दिया, एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट वो आईसीयू में पड़ा हुआ है। तो ये तो हालत है बांग्लादेश की इस टाइम पे। तो ये देखिए, ये जो गेम चल रही है बांग्लादेश के अंदर, दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच इज बेसिकली मोटिवेटेड एंड आपको कहीं ना कहीं एक उकसाने की कोशिश की जा रही है। नाउ ऑफ कोर्स लेट्स कम टू द पॉइंट कि भारत को उकसाने की कोशिश तो की जा रही है, बट व्हाट डू वी डू अबाउट दिस सिचुएशन एंड हाउ डज इंडिया एक्चुअली प्ले दिस गेम? क्योंकि अगर बांग्लादेश में लेट्स से 100 लोग रहते हैं, सारे ऐसे बेवकूफ नहीं है, ठीक है, अबाउट 40-50% ऑफ दीज पीपल आर लाइक दिस, बट जो बाकी लोग बचे हैं, जो देयर आर स्ट्रेट थिंकिंग पीपल इन बांग्लादेश, एंड मैं बड़ा क्लियरली बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि मेरे पास ईमेल्स आती हैं उन लोगों की, दे एक्चुअली जॉइन दिस कन्वर्सेशन, दे आर इन आवर लाइव चैट्स, तो हमको ईमेल्स आती हैं, हमको बताते हैं लोग कि यार सर ऐसी बात नहीं है, हम लोग सारे ऐसे नहीं है, वी आर नॉट वांटिंग टू एंटागनाइज भारत, और ये जो चीजें हो रही हैं वो गलत है। एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट जितनी इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे बांग्लादेशियों से आती है, जो मैं आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ, is actually amazing. I'm not able to find that information myself. I can actually see it from people who send it to me. What does India do realistically? क्या-क्या चीजें हमको दिखती हैं as analysts? Okay, let me just say that राजा जी के पास कोई formal input नहीं है, मेरे पास कोई formal input नहीं है. We are trying to analyze the situation. So let's try and do that and understand how does India take this game forward. And सबसे बड़ा जो सवाल है कि साहब ये कितना टाइम, ये शरारत जो है, ये जो गेम चल रहा है बांग्लादेश के अंदर मोहम्मद यूनिस का, ये कितना टाइम आगे चलेगा? नमस्कार राजा जी, थैंक यू सो मच एंड लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड। हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, नो प्रॉब्लम सर, हम लोग काफी टाइम से बात कर रहे थे कि बांग्लादेश के ऊपर बात करनी है। So your opening comments and let's get into after that a little more specifics.
See, first of all, जो इन्होंने चार्ज लगाया है ना स्वामी जी पे, that is a frivolous charge. Why? I'll tell you why. If the problem is that he placed a flag above the Bangladeshi flag, in almost all the protests in Bangladesh, we have seen Al Qaeda and ISIS flag being placed on top of a Bangladeshi flag. There has been no case registered against people who have जिन्होंने वो flag जो है वो बांग्लादेशी flag के ऊपर लगाया हुआ था. So this is a persecution, a targeted persecution of the minorities. Let's be very, very clear to this. Now, why this persecution is happening is very simple. It's because they thought the Jamaat-e-Islami and the Yunus regime is very clear that Sheikh Hasina ki jo government it was backed by India. They are out to antagonize India. क्योंकि they are out to antagonize India because they know that their जिनको मैं नाजायज बात बोलता हूँ, the state to talk about, they want to shut the borders. 1, 2. Second thing is, if you look at the way Bangladesh is now reversing itself back into history of what it was after 1947, they are somewhere trying to go back into history. That is the problem number 2. Problem number 3 बांग्लादेश में ये है कि देखो बांग्लादेश जो है ना, it is at the beginning of where Pakistan was. हमने ये कश्मीर में भी देखा, अगर आज आप देखोगे कि ISKCON वालों ने जो SOPs कहूंगा मैं उनको, स्टैंड प्रोसीजिंग ऑपरेटर्स अपने लोगों के लिए कि आप तिलक हटा दो, आप धागे हटा दो, आप सब कुछ निकाल दो, jail with the crowd, cover your head. This is exactly what we saw in Kashmir. This is exactly what we have seen in Pakistan, and now we are seeing the peak of it happening in Bangladesh. This
No, sir,
means
just
one
speak a
thing.
little louder. Yeah, that background is kind of coming in the middle.
Is it still running bad? Am I
हाँ,
audible now?
just
Is it
speak a
better?
little louder. That.
अच्छा, मे बी मेरी टोन थोड़ी सी हल्की होगी. सो ये हमने देखा है कश्मीर में भी, हमने देखा है पाकिस्तान में भी, और ये हम रिपीटेशन देख रहे हैं बांग्लादेश में. ठीक है. एंड persecution of minorities is something which they have always aspired for, to take over a place, to turn it completely into an Islamic kind of a place. जो हमने पाकिस्तान में देखा वही हम बांग्लादेश में देखा. ये डिफरेंस पहले से नहीं है, ये शेख हसीना के वक्त भी हो रहा था, बट ये था कि उसमें थोड़ा कवर डाला हुआ था, उस लेवल पर नहीं हो रहा. अब ये है कि उसके जाने के बाद ये बिल्कुल रीजनली ओपनली हो रहा है. नाउ इसको अगर आप देखोगे कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं या हम क्या कर रहे हैं, वन, द इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इज वेरी साइलेंट ऑन दिस. नाउ आई डोंट मीन साइलेंट बाय देयर साइलेंट, इट्स अ साइलेंट एक्शन जो हम कर रहे हैं, बट दे वेरी साइलेंट एक्शंस. एक अगर आप देखोगे जो यू नो द इकोनॉमिक ब्लॉकेज जिसको मैं कहूँ, एक तो इनकी सप्लाई चेन्स को हमने हिट किया. ठीक है, इनकी गारमेंट बिजनेस वो इनकी अपनी बेवकूफी की वजह से गया, और मैक्सिमम ऑफ दैट हैज कम इनटू इंडिया. सो दैट हैज हिट देम इकोनॉमिकली. नाउ दे आर सीइंग इंडिया एज अ चैलेंजर, बोथ इकोनॉमिकली एंड सिक्योरिटी वाइज. इनको ये लगता है कि अगर इंडिया का जो इन्फ्लुएंस है बांग्लादेश में, उसको किसी ना किसी तरीके से कम किया जाए, फॉर देम टू सक्सीड इनटू देयर लार्जर गेम. क्योंकि जब जितना इंडियन इन्फ्लुएंस बांग्लादेश में रहेगा, एंड यू नो आदि, देयर इज वन थिंग, there are people in Bangladesh who are sane, but the problem is not with the violent minority. The problem is always with the silent majority. Unless until the silent majority doesn't speak up, things will not get better. The mistake time and again people make is that, you know, they're silent. They want to know ki kya ho raha hai, they want to stop it, but they have no you know, they don't take their skin, they don't keep their skin out to say that we need to stop this violence. They will silently watch what is happening and they'll start complaining about it. That is not going to change the narrative. Even if there is a 10-20% of silent minority, if the silent minority comes out, or a silent majority comes out and stands with the minority of the country, things can change, because then the whole narrative changes. But that is not going to happen on the ground. It is more of a political posturing which we are seeing, which is happening on the ground. Awami League के लोग हैं, कुछ BNP में कुछ सेम वॉइसेस हैं, वो बात कर रहे हैं. बट हेड ऑन इस चीज को लेने के लिए आज की डेट में बांग्लादेश में कोई भी तैयार नहीं. बांग्लादेश में जो प्रॉब्लम है वो माइनॉरिटीज के साथ पिछले बहुत सालों से हो रही है. देखो, इफ यू लुक एट द डेटा ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन, जो माइनॉरिटी पॉपुलेशन बांग्लादेश में ग्रेजुअली डिक्रीज हुआ है, व्हाट डज दैट इंडिकेट? दैट इंडिकेट दैट द प्रोसिक्यूशन वाज ऑलवेज देयर, बट सिंस हसीना वाज देयर वी वर आल्सो सॉर्ट ऑफ कि थिंग्स आर अंडर कंट्रोल. Now, there is one more thing we have to understand is that, you know, they are Hindus, but at the end of the day, they're Bangladeshi Hindus. Their land, their properties, their job, their families, their schools, their education, everything is linked to Bangladesh. So yes, they are facing the persecution. And what Swamiji had done is he basically got them all together and said that, you know, unity is the strength. कि जब तक एक साथ बात करेंगे, we will have a voice, we will be able to counter this persecution against us. तो इसलिए इन्होंने उनको उठा के जेल में डाल दिया, because he knows that that is a threatening proposition. That will lead to you know, openly street war on Bangladesh, and that is what they want to avoid. They want to persecute minorities ruthlessly, and they keep on giving labels कि ये political, ये है, ये वो है, ये nonsense है. There is no political persecution happening, it's a religious persecution happening. So the options we have is, one, we are doing economic blockade. Very silently we are putting this economic blockade out.
Now, guys,
so that is hurting
sorry,
them.
but economic blockade के हिसाब से one of the biggest things that hits Bangladesh is potatoes. You must understand the habits, eating habits of a population before you hit them. तो बंगाल में potatoes का काफी बंगाली फूड के अंदर काफी एक रोल होता है, तो potatoes एकदम ब्लॉक है. Right, so that's one of the biggest things that is actually taking place, and उसके बहुत दिखेगा आपको impact. So potatoes and onions are blocked. Electricity is gone. अडानी की तरफ से आज त्रिपुरा ने भी बोला है भाई साहब बंद, तुम्हारी बिजली भी बंद and coal भी बंद.
हाँ, basically what is going to be the impact? The impact is going to be higher inflation within Bangladesh, because जो supply कम हो जाएगी, availability खत्म हो जाएगी, they will have to import it from somewhere else. It is going to, prices are going to shoot up. It is going to hit them. ठीक है, वैसे उनका unrest इतना है, उनकी economy is going down. They are not able to sustain this, inflation. So this will further shoot up the inflation. This is going to hurt the masses. So once things like these hurt up, though economic reform ki UNIS baat kar raha hai, that falls flat on the face because there is no economic reform happening. What is happening in Bangladesh is a slow economic crunch which is coming across. Right. Second thing I think is that we are waiting. I think, because it's a mess created by the outgoing administration of Biden. Well, we all know that, and this is very clear. I think with Donald Trump, we are giving it a chance, thinking that once he's into power, he will be able to rein in these people, cut their supplies, and cut them to size. So I think there is some understanding with Donald Trump also that we will manage this together, but in a much subtle way. That is why we are not seeing any overt reactions from the Indian government as of now on the ground. ये मुझे जो है ये मुझे इसका दूसरा ये लगता है कि because we are waiting for Trump to completely come into power. I think he has tweeted also about this. He has put out a communication.
हमारी lobbying बड़ी strong है. That's why you're able to get that bloody thing coming out from there.
So he has tweeted about this. He has not tweeted about Pakistan. He has tweeted about this. So that tells you that we are working with the US on this issue of taking this thing down. Third thing is the military exercises which we are already doing on the border, the posturing we have done, right? We have moved up our, what do you call them, defensive, you can say offensive armaments on the border. We are doing air exercises, we are doing land exercises, we are doing the aggressive posturing, jisko bolte hain. That posturing is also on, but I think that is the last stage. When nothing works, then that will be an option which will be available to us. That is also a message to the Bangladeshis saying that we are not going to sit quietly on what is happening. So these are three things immediate aftermath में what we can do. देखो, we cannot go and do a चढ़ाई on, ठीक है, at this point. That is not going to, neither it is going to suit us nationally, neither it is going, because it's going to trigger a mass conflict on the border. Then you have a problem of people, illegal Bangladeshis sitting inside India. Okay, they are going to be a major threat. We'll have to figure out a way of how to curb them. Then it is going to trigger, because of them, there is a chance of internal riot and internal, riots within India. Because it has a potential to do that. Once you go after the Bangladeshis,
मुझे एक वही चीज दिखती है, which is sorry to interrupt you, but this is one thing that I know is that अगर ये हमने कुछ करा, the 2.5 crore guys the 2.5 crore guys that are here in India, that is something that I am worried about कि if they start reacting, that will become a major problem. क्योंकि ये लोग जितने भी अंदर बैठे हैं, that's obviously हम लोग तो यार 2.5 front बोलते हैं कि साहब, this is not 2.5 front, this is a proper third front which is inside. ठीक है, so that's something that I'm a bit worried about, and Raja ji has a very strong point when he mentions कि साहब अगर आप जैसे वहां पर घुसे, ऐसा ना हो कि आपके पीछे से एक और फ्रंट खोल के बैठ जाए. So that's something I think that that needs to be considered pretty well, and it needs to be taken into consideration as far as any action that you're trying to take as far as Bangladesh is concerned. So that's a good point, sir.
हाँ, so एक point तो वो है, दूसरा इसका international implication भी आएगा. Look, the moment you try to be aggressive, your adversaries are going to jump onto your back. So China will be very ready to back the Bangladeshis, right? In that case, you'll be opening up a third front in front of larger. देखो, हमने ये भी देखा है, Russia wanted to, with Ukraine, though Ukraine was a previous part of Russia, but the conflict went from 1 month where people were saying कि ये तो महीने में खत्म हो जाएगा, 2 साल हो गए, right? You don't want to get involved or get embroiled into a conflict of that story, that large. Then global forces come and they try to bog you down to that area. So the war is a serious business and it has huge repercussions internally as well as externally. So I think that is the last option which I'm talking about, a military exercise or something. I don't see that happening. But what I see happening is, one, we are going to literally, what you call is tighten the screws on the Bangladeshis on the economic front, squeeze them out completely. We are going to use complete diplomatic, क्योंकि आज देखो, आज ब्रिटेन में भी पार्लियामेंट में they have picked up this issue, right? So we are putting international pressure on them for them to back out onto this issue. Third, I think we are waiting for Donald Trump to come in so we can manage this problem once and for all. There is a lot of talk about Tariq Anwar coming back to Bangladesh. ये कल से बहुत चल रहा है कि Tariq Anwar will be back in Bangladesh. If Tariq Anwar comes back to Bangladesh, that only means one thing: Yunus days are numbered. बस बिकॉज अगर वो बांग्लादेश आता है वो यूनुस को पावर में बैठने को देगा
तो आप क्या
और वो
बोल रहे हो,
किसी
हम
न
लोग
किसी
regime
गारंटी
change
से
कर रहे
तो
हैं वहां
आएगा.
पर? आप क्या बोल
हम
रहे हो,
कर
हम
भी
regime
सकते हैं.
change कर रहे हैं?
Yeah, why not? Possible. Maybe that is a via media कि we get BNP back, we get Tariq Anwar back, and we get rid of Yunus. It's a huge possibility. And the statement Tariq Anwar has given today is, which is very significant, is that this is going to be the toughest election in Bangladesh in all the years to come. He said that, all previous elections have never been so tough. This is going to be the toughest election. He has clearly pointed out because BP will have to fight Jamaat-e-Islami on the ground for power. And that is where the silent minority or silent majority, along with the minorities, you will see exercising their votes and making sure that they come into power and they keep Jamaat-e-Islami. Okay? So that political posturing is also happening. So if this guy lands up in Bangladesh, Yunus का countdown start हो गया because Yunus has very clearly said 3 साल तक तो मैं election करवाऊंगा. He is still with the old deep state for 3 years. Nothing is going to happen. If we want to take reforms, right? We want to do referendum and all that nonsense he wants to carry out in Bangladesh. Essentially, in 3 years, he will turn Bangladesh into a non-entity, will finish it off, and will be surviving like Pakistan on IMF loans. That is what is going to happen. Now, the only major concern, देखो 7 states में से भी अगर आप देखोगे ना, the reaction is very, very strong towards Bangladesh, except Kolkata, West Bengal, not Kolkata, West Bengal. Now, that is another internal issue.
उसमें भी लीडरशिप की तरफ से तो काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट्स आ रहे हैं. तो ममता दीदी को कुछ मैसेज तो गया है कि मैडम थोड़ा ठंडे हो जाओ, नहीं तो खाएंगे अभी आपको.
नहीं, ममता ने तो क्लियर बयान दिया है कि आई थिंक यूएन पीस कीपिंग फोर्सेस शुड बी सेंट टू बांग्लादेश. जिस पे आज रिएक्शन आया बांग्लादेश से कि दिस इज द अनवारंटेड काइंड ऑफ statement given by Mamata Banerjee. This should not have come. यहाँ जरूरत नहीं है UN forces की. But for Mamata Banerjee also to recognize and say कि send UN forces, that means there is a lot of pressure on her also to understand what is happening. See, the problem with Mamata will also be that देखो अभी तक तो बंगाल में अगर हम देखेंगे infiltration, which is illegal immigrants, the overwhelming majority is Muslims. But if something bad goes in, worse gets around in Bangladesh, you will have a lot of influx of Hindus coming. So Mamata के लिए वो from a political point of view बड़ी problem हो जाएगी क्योंकि वो balance out कर देगा वो overwhelming जो illegal बैठे हैं जो वोट डालते हैं उसको, उसकी equation खराब हो जाएगी सर. So she will also be very, very worried politically as well as looking at West Bengal's internal security, state ka ki how to keep the state calm. The last thing you want is West Bengal to, go up in flames and go up in riots. Because its direct impact of Bangladesh is going to come onto West Bengal, whether you like it or you don't like it. So there are a lot of, small, I would say, powder cakes sitting across your borders, which can flame up a larger fire within India as well. So you have to be very, very careful while dealing with this kind of a situation. Now, I understand people have sentiments, you don't want to see minorities being persecuted. But at the same time, you don't want to be rash or brash, where it's going to hurt you or hurt your people more than it's actually going to do some good for them. Right? So the brash and harsh reaction is not the right reaction. And it's a long game. We will have to deal with the new Bangladesh. We have to take an exception that, yes, this is a new Bangladesh coming into, and we will have to deal with it the way it is emerging. And we will deal with it very strongly in our own ways. We have our ways and means. But overnightly, we cannot change things. Overnight, things don't change. And overnight changes in any geopolitical scenario are very unstable changes and highly dangerous things. So we have to be very, very careful of that factor as well. So I think the way the government is dealing with this is very silently, but at the same time, they are keeping an eye on what all options they can exercise. And I think with time, the pressure on Bangladesh will increase. So it's like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step. That is how it is going to go. So the first thing would be hurt their economy. And that we are doing very well.
There is military का काफी हद तक movement है बांग्लादेश के borders के ऊपर काफी. We know that there is a what do you call exercise which is actually taking place, and we can see the factor that they are quite worried about it क्योंकि बांग्लादेश की तरफ से भी एक खबर आई थी, we are moving our tanks to the border. जो 6-8 उनके पास tanks हैं, टैंक मैन तो इतने से हैं, इतने से हैं, पता नहीं चलता। पता है इनके देखे हैं आपने टैंक वाले जो इनके बंदे हैं, इट इज सो फनी दैट पता चले साला वो जो मीडियम गन होती है ना, उस दिन मैं कर्नल रायना से बात कर रहा था, वो आर्टिलरी गाय, ही सेड यार इतने छोटे छोटे बंदे हैं, पता चले वो जो शेल का साइज है बंदे का साइज सेम है, रात में पता चले बंदे को डाला, उसको डाला, मतलब पीछे से फायर कर दिया, बंदे क्या है। तो कोई इनका कोई इतना वो नहीं है। I mean, you look at the fighter aircraft here, they painted them yellow. They have no clue how to fight anything or anything like that, but they are quite worried. That's something you can know. But मेरा सवाल ये है, before we get into questions, is the factor that ये जो suddenly ISKCON के ऊपर टारगेटिंग करी है इन लोगों ने, right? And that's something that tells you that they are worried about ISKCON as an organization. इनको डर लगता है उससे, because they feel that there is something that the ISKCON is able to do that they are not able to do. So what do you say about that?
See, on their military strength, we all know, yeah, they have redundant things. Their tanks are also redundant. So they don't stand a chance. They are talking about getting J7s from Pakistan. For God's sake, यार वो J7 बाबा आदम के जमाने का जहाज है आज की डेट में, right? Doesn't stand a chance in front of Tejas. Forget Rafale. But that, and those artillery shells they're getting from Pakistan, which 40% of them don't explode even, don't work even. So that tells you what kind of men they are. Okay? But ISKCON ke piche, the reason behind going behind ISKCON is they firmly believe that ISKCON is where the Indian influence is the maximum. If India wants to influence on the ground, it is through the funding of ISKCON and through the temples of ISKCON that they are able to move that. That is why they are looking at banning ISKCON and looking at seizing its international assets as well, as far as Bangladesh is concerned, because they think they will be able to stem the flow of money which comes from India for covert operations in Bangladesh. So ISKCON के पीछे जाने का पहला रीजन तो वो है. दूसरा रीजन ये है कि ISKCON is the only institution in Bangladesh right now which has been successful in rallying all the minorities, all the Hindus under one umbrella. So उन्होंने उनको बिल्कुल जमा किया है, and it has become like a movement kind of a thing, right? So that is a big threat for them, because if all the Hindus get together and get united in Bangladesh, then one, their persecution will not be possible. Two, there will be a backlash on this government, because that will give way for आगे जाके for the silent minority, majority, whatever it is, to at least voice their opinion and concern. And it also, what will do is, internationally it will also create a problem for them. ठीक है, आज I was listening to one of their I think he was foreign spokesperson who was saying this, Indian media is there. Primarily, it is Indian media which is playing this narrative of divide, which is not there, which he was clearly lying. But, he was not only blaming the Indian media. He said, and then there is some international media too. So the narrative warfare and the narrative game has changed onto them. So they are feeling the heat and the pressure. वो उनके आना शुरू हो गया. Now, will they succumb to this pressure, or will they go more brazen, is something we have to see. Because being these lunatics, they are mad. They are absolutely mad lunatics. So expect them to go to any extent to fulfill their own agendas. And they have very limited time also. They know by 20th December, when Trump is into power, इनका जितना ये nonsense चल रहा है, ये खत्म हो जाएगा. The Americans will, literally, if they don't withdraw 100%, at least 60% they will withdraw. And that will hurt. There will be changes. So they will try to either maximize their nonsense, or they will try to do this. I assume that they will try to maximize their nonsense. So this month is very, very crucial. Month and a half is very, very crucial for Bangladesh and for the Hindus in Bangladesh.
Actually that just brings me to another simple little question, is that inka they will try and basically antagonize, right? And they want you to kind of do something and this and that, which is the day it actually comes. Now that's really funny, because they want you to do something and antagonize, but ye jail to पाएंगे नहीं उसको. ठीक है, अगर कुछ किया इंडिया ने टुडे, they won't be able to झेलो it. इनके पास इतना ना दम है, ना बम है, ना कुछ है to actually really handle their entire resources, which is something that you can, Now, that tells you something about Yunus and his government and the thought process behind the government, कि भैया जितने भी लोग जो ठुके मरे, हमको क्या फर्क पड़ता है, हम तो यहाँ पर एक larger narrative खेलने के लिए आए हैं, which is basically an anti-India narrative. हमको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता अगर बांग्लादेशी मरते हैं मरने दो, भूखे मरते हैं मरने दो, सारी इकोनॉमी ठप हो जाती है। अब इकोनॉमी में भी देखो, आपके प्याज टमाटर जो भी प्याज और आलू बंद कर दिए, आपकी बिजली बंद कर दी। एज ए मैटर फैक्ट जो यहाँ पर मेडिकल टूरिज्म के लिए जो लोग आते थे वो बंद कर दिया। बाय द वे आपको पता है जो लीगल बांग्लादेशी घुसे हुए हैं वो डरे हुए हैं कि यार कहीं बॉर्डर बॉर्डर बंद हो गए तो हम तो गए, ठीक है। तो वो भी चक्कर है। ऊपर से आपने इनका खाना पीना बंद कर रखा है, बिजली बंद कर रखी है। आज त्रिपुरा ने बोला है बिजली तो बंद कर रहे हैं, कोल भी नहीं देंगे तुमको। देयर आर स्टेट्स दैट आर नाउ सेइंग भैया यू प्लीज डोंट कम हियर फॉर ए इलाज आल्सो। एंड त्रिपुरा होटेलियर्स एसोसिएशन ने भी एक स्टेटमेंट निकाला है कि साहब कोई कमरा कुमरा नहीं मिलेगा बांग्लादेशियों को, जो करना है कर लो तुम लोग। तो दिस टेल्स यू हाउ केयर्ड दे आर अबाउट देयर ओन पीपल। व्हाट डू यू से अबाउट दैट?
Yeah, they don't give two hoots about their people. Had they been cared about their people, they would not be doing what they're doing in Bangladesh. Basically, they are running, what they are doing is utter nonsense. They are just ruling roost there. But इसमें एक और चीज है Adi. If you understand, the whole idea of this upheaval in Bangladesh was to put pressure on India's internal security. Right now, once what they're doing, they are also hoping that larger powers behind these powers would be hoping that there will be a reaction within India. कि ये कहीं स्पिल ओवर करके, क्योंकि हिंदूज के खिलाफ वहां बांग्लादेश में हो रहा है, तो कहीं इंडिया के अंदर कहीं रिएक्शन ना आए. एंड दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट दे वांट. They want to trigger, riots within India. They have been trying this for a very long time. They are not successful about it. So this they will also be seeing कि यार ठीक है, अगर बांग्लादेश में हम प्रेशर बहुत करते हैं तो इसका कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया के अंदर भी फटता है, तो जाके फटने दो. नाउ त्रिपुरा वगैरह ने सारा बंद तो कर दिया, कोल बंद कर दिया, एंड दे आर नॉट गिविंग देम होटल्स एंड ऑल दैट. But you have to be very, very careful with this thing, because there will be a lot of people who will be trying to run away and trying to come to, these states. Now you have to take care of those people as well. आप ब्लैंकेट बैन अगर सारे बांग्लादेशीज पे कर दोगे, फिर वो कहाँ जाएंगे हिंदू जो वहां से फेयरिंग परसिक्यूशन दे आर कमिंग टू योर स्टेट? हु इज गोइंग टू फीड देम? So you have to be very, very careful with that also. कि who are we banning and who are we not banning? Right? We cannot put a blanket ban on every Bangladeshi, because there are Bangladeshis Hindus who's trying to get into India. Right? So you have to be very, very careful of what is happening there. Okay? But they don't care about their people. Yeah? Obviously, if they would have cared about their people, they would have taken Hasina out. They would have, done a lot of better things they could have done with Bangladesh. जो इन्होंने हसीना को accuse किया था corruption का, governance का. देखो आज की डेट में ना करप्शन इशू है बांग्लादेश में, ना गवर्नेंस इशू है बांग्लादेश में. आज की डेट में एक ही इशू है बांग्लादेश में. एक वो है कि ये जो स्टूडेंट पावर है इनकी, जो छात्र छात्र है जमात इस्लामी की, एक तो उनको स्ट्रीट पावर चाहिए, ठीक है, उसके लिए वो किसी भी हालत में जाने के लिए तैयार है. दूसरा, उनको इस्लाम चाहिए. उनको बांग्लादेश नहीं चाहिए, उनको इस्लाम चाहिए, उनको इस्लामिक ये चाहिए, ठीक है. This tells you their mindset, what their mindset is. Their mindset is not about Bangladesh. Their mindset is not about welfare. Their mindset is about radicalization, and their mindset is about a religious ruling and a religious power. This is what they are aiming at. Nothing more, nothing less. इनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. वो वैसे 83 years का हो गया, 2-4 साल और जिएगा, अमेरिका जाके अपने वो खुद तो ऐश करेगा, पर बांग्लादेशियों के बच्चों को वो मरवा देगा.
उसको जाके डॉक्टर को निकालना पड़ेगा जो जेल में बैठी है बाय द वे.
नहीं, उसको तो ठीक है, वो उसकी डॉटर जहां भी बैठी है उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. बट ये है कि वो खुद तो ऐश करेगा 2-3 साल अपने लास्ट पे, बट बांग्लादेशी बच्चों को मरवा देगा, बांग्लादेश की आने वाली जनरेशन को खत्म कर देगा. उनको वही करेगा जो पाकिस्तान ने अपनी जनरेशन के साथ किया है, और आज वो भुगत रहे हैं, ठीक है. तो वही बांग्लादेश का हाल ये यूनिस कर रहा है. एंड बांग्लादेशीज विल हैव टू थिंक कि व्हाट दे वांट प्रोग्रेस एंड डेवलपमेंट, और दे वांट टू बी वर्स देन पाकिस्तान. Because mind you, Bangladesh will become worse than Pakistan.
They want to go back to the 7th century. वो तो let's show them the way. That's not a problem.
हाँ, so if they want to, then let's push them there and let them see how they endure that for how long.
Exactly. बिजली तो बंद कर रहे हैं. Endure करो. बढ़िया है. Let them actually endure it. Guys, जरा वीडियो को लाइक करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए चैनल को. Sorry about all the noise. I actually pulled Raja Saab for a special show because I wanted to discuss with him. मैं काफी टाइम से, and you guys know I'm going to be traveling. कल आपके पास बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग से शोज मैंने रखे हैं आपको दिखाने के लिए. So tomorrow there will not be any live show, but I have some very interesting shows to show to you, to present to you. But day after tomorrow onwards we'll be back because I'll be in the destination that I need to be. And as a matter of fact, day after हम राजा साहब से भी personally मिलेंगे. So we will also do some in-person podcasts that I will actually do later. तो screen पे तो है ही है, and सामने सामने बैठ के भी एक करेंगे, and that will be really really interesting. We are going to Kashmir for the Kashmiri Lit Fest, and that's something which I'm looking forward to. Srinagar, I have not been there, but Jammu se Srinagar drive is something that I'm going to be doing, and that's something I'm really really looking forward for. So बहुत ही interesting times are up, and lot of interesting people I'm going to meet there. General D.B. Pandey, Kapil Sibal ji, Kamal Sibal ji, Ramneek Maan ji, a lot of people I'm meeting there. So all of them will be obviously on the podcast. So you have a, a ton of podcasts coming across on Dev Talk. So jara ध्यान से. All right, please like करिए वीडियो को, सब्सक्राइब करिए, and let's get into questions. And most importantly, आप लोग इस चैनल की तरफ कंट्रीब्यूट भी कर सकते हैं यूजिंग द QR कोड या फिर पेपैल या फिर सुपर स्टिकर सुपर चैट्स के साथ आप कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं. यू कैन आल्सो बिकम अ मेंबर व्हिच रियली हेल्प्स द चैनल, सो प्लीज डू दैट. सुमित जी,
One more
थैंक यू
request,
सो
Adi.
जी.
One more request before you go into this. I've got few messages where people are saying they don't get notification by YouTube when the show is on. Tell them how to do that once again, so you know they can
यार उसका तो
accordingly
बड़ा
set their
सिंपल है.
settings.
when you are on the channel, your subscribe button should be black. जो उसमें बेल आइकन होता है उसके अंदर ब्लैक होना चाहिए. सब्सक्राइब जहां लिखा होता है, there's a drop down. Please switch on all notifications so that you get all notifications. Secondly, even if you're not getting that, join my Telegram group, join the WhatsApp group. All links are there in the description. आप इनको join करिए ताकि आपको directly मैं notifications भेज सकूं. सुमित जी, thank you so much for becoming a member. Sarvani, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Very kind of you. Then Sarvani herself has become a member. Oh, fantastic. Very nice. Right, let's go to question. Chaitanya ji, thank you so much. Violent solution of Bangladesh. We can't send our military every 25 years in Bangladesh. Bring minority backs or ask them to convert to Islam. Don't show false hope. Nobody's showing any false hope here. Remember one thing, people who stayed there with their own free will. Nobody forced them to stay there. Nobody forced them to move. Now they are in trouble. What needs to be done? How needs to be done? Obviously, the government will decide. We don't know what is going to happen. But the way things are going, let me just say something. I can see something is going to happen. What, where, why, how? Can't say that. Anything, sir?
No, absolutely. You have nailed this thing. We didn't ask them to stay there. They stayed there and get converted. I don't think it's going to be very easy for them to do that this time around. You know, we have learned our lessons from Pakistan and we are prepared. We are prepared for it this time. Much better prepared. And there will be a cost for all these things. And this cost will have to be paid by the Bangladeshis. Just wait. It takes time. Yeah, so don't get too disheartened.
A lot of people compare this situation to what you call 1971. चलिए अगर आप 1971 के साथ भी कंपेयर करते हैं, so let's try and put that into perspective as well. 1971 में जो चीज शुरू हुई थी वो 1969 में शुरू हुई थी. 1970 में ऑपरेशन सर्चलाइट हुआ था and you went into Bangladesh in 1971 December. ठीक है, although इतना टाइम आपको आज नहीं चाहिए, but always remember if you want to do something it takes time, right? It can't happen overnight because अगर आप overnight कुछ करोगे you will actually get stuck, and that's what the Ghera Raja would want. That's my analysis. Government का क्या है, हमारे armed forces का क्या है और intelligence का क्या analysis है, वो तो उनसे ही पूछना पड़ेगा. I don't know about that. Rashmi ji, thank you, sir. Apparently, the anti-Hindu sentiment in Bangladesh has been building up over decades after 1971. Past 15 years of Hasina, government is managing to keep some in check. US just lighted a match. True.
That's very, very true. That's what we have been saying as well. Because you remember if in 2014 when those bloggers were killed, because they were, exercising free speech, that told you where Bangladesh is going then and what was happening within Bangladesh. Okay, with Hasina, things were sort of under the blanket. But once she's gone, the blanket has been removed and you can see the complete intensity of what they have been up to for last 10, 15 years. And it is to the core. So yes, I completely agree with you on that.
True, ji. Osho ji, thank you so much. Beware of major attack chances. Bangladesh 6 December to 20th January. Thank you for the input. Osho Saab, once again, only Solon Fund Ulfa Rohingya use against Bangladesh. I don't know what that means, but thank you so much. Troll Saab, thank you. Assam is blocked all kinds of connections with Bangladesh. Assam, Tripura, both have blocked now. So yeah, you're right. Sumanji, thank you so much for this question. Why Indian government is not taking Bangladesh into ICJ for committing genocide, just like South Africa did to Israel few months back?
I'm pretty sure that will be on the cards, but it's too early to take them to ICJ, sorry, International Court of Justice. Too early for that, because what they're doing is very selective persecution for now. Once, if Bangladesh goes towards something, they commit suicide by doing mass persecution on the streets, and they go all out violence against Hindus on the streets of Bangladesh, then I think all options are open. Not only ICJ, I think then India will be responding in a much forceful way, and Bangladeshis will have to pay the cost for it, for their misadventure. It's going to be a misadventure with Bangladeshis, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Anilji, we are not signatory to the ICC. Okay, ICJ is different. We are part of the ICJ. ICJ was the one that was created for the Nuremberg trials and the Japanese trials. As a matter of fact, Indian lawyers were there. I don't. Justice Roy, if I'm not mistaken, was part of the Japanese trials that took place in Japan. So वो मुझे पता है. But one thing is there, यार, ICJ and all that stuff. If US has done the regime change, US controls the ICJ quite to a large extent. You got to handle your own shit.
And I really don't have much hope from these things. अब कर लिया ICJ ने इतने के खिलाफ क्या किया, उसको कुछ नहीं कर पाए ना. It is all it is all political posturing and gambling. Nothing concrete comes out of these institutions, and we have seen it now. They are just white elephants, I would say.
Yeah, Tripura and Assam are showing some spine, but BJP is not doing anything formally. Sir जी वो WhatsApp नहीं भेजेंगे यार हमको. These are strategic decisions. Please understand. Yes, the BJP is quite poor in communication, but मैं सही में बोलूं, these kind of things, यार, nobody is going to inform you. Tomorrow it might just be आज रात को आप सो, कल सुबह something has happened.
No. The point is, who is running Tripura and Assam? So,
यार वो
ठीक है. And do you think without the central government nothing happens? How is Mamta saying what she is saying?
Oh,
so everything is, so everything doesn't happen by declaring everything and chest thumping and chest beating, and these things are done very quietly. And more quietly they are done, the better. The results are always better.
We are not Pakistan. Pakistan.
But they only do chest beating. वो तो उसके आगे तुमको कुछ आता नहीं, बस यही करते रहते हो.
No question. Bharani Kumar ji, include medical tourism also in the banned list. Assam and Tripura have done that. I'm sure West Bengal से भी चीजें निकलनी शुरू होंगी अभी. Quite positive about it.
Bengal is a bit tricky, as I explained why it is tricky. But yes, once push comes to shove, there will be action and reaction from Bengal also. It will happen.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
All right. Adarsh ji, sir, you were telling some major action is going to take place in Bangladesh. Till when can we expect that? Yeah, if I would know. Trust you me, sir. If I would know, I would not say it here. I don't. I mean, I am just analyzing situations, right? When I see a major...
We are analyzing different things. We are just wargaming what can be done. But look, if anything has to go haywire, it will happen between now and 20th of January.
Yeah.
After 20th of January, too difficult, right? Then Trump is basically responsible for what happens there. So this is a crucial period.
How would the Bangladeshis and India get united? Most of the people are here for livelihood. Most of them. There are a few who are not.
Don't be under that impression that they're here for livelihood and they're very simple and seedha log. They are not. And when it comes to these things, they immediately get united. We have seen things happening in small communities where they all get united. They all stand outside police stations. They all create a lot of halla. There are a lot of things which happen which goes unreported in the media. So they are not bicharas who are sitting for livelihood and they think their livelihood is going to be hit. They are here and they know, their theatrics and their violence is real. So don't take that threat away. That's a real threat.
जी
The violence they can create is a real threat, and we have to be very very careful with it. I was just recently hearing about a case where all these Rohingyas forcefully took a jhogi of a person, and once the police came, what they did with them. वो दिल्ली में हुआ, ये कहीं बाहर नहीं हुआ.
या उसके
Happened in
बाद
Delhi.
बाद में मार पड़ी थी बट इनिशियली तो
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
दे
उस पे
डिड
तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. They have nothing happened. मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा. So I was just hearing the story day before yesterday. I was somewhere and this person was telling me the story कि हुआ क्या वहाँ. So how they gang up and how they are trying to do what they are trying to do, it's already in play on ground in many places. You have to be very very careful with that.
Strategic observer ji, we need to build a massive public pressure on fashion retail brands that are selling Kangalu manufactured clothing, use street flour to block the imports. Absolutely correct. Support that 100%, sir.
No, absolutely.
Second,
When we should be doing that, and any brand which is carrying made in Bangladesh labels, please take
just
care of
don't
those
buy
brands.
as
Ask
simple
them
as
to
that.
withdraw it. Don't buy it,
Yeah.
and ask them to withdraw that.
Sayan Dattaji, thank you. Kolkata hospitals and doctors are refusing to service Bangladeshis. Great. I'm proud if that is happening. Fantastic. All right. There's a out of syllabus subject question. Karthik Rao Saab, thank you so much. Tim Barshe and Foreign Affairs Committee invited uh, Amrullah Saleh to Washington to discuss Afghanistan and its people. What may be at play here?
I have heard about it. I need to find out what exactly happened there. And what Amarullah Saleh has said there. Yeah, this will be related to the ISKP threat which is going on in Parachinar. So they will be looking at that scenario. That is what will be playing out to. That is why Taliban has banned Hizbut Tahrir, Jamaat-e-Islami, and all those organizations का उन्होंने ban कर दिया उनको. They can't hold any public congregations in Afghanistan. They cannot hold any public rallies. They cannot do anything in Afghanistan. All the 34 governors have been told to deal with them very strictly, and if they don't comply, shoot them at sight. That is the order from Taliban towards Jamaat-e-Islami and Hizbut Tahrir. So it will be because of the ISKP emerging as a very potent threat in the region. I am keeping an eye on it. So this is what the most probable cause could be, but I still need to check what the statement is.
All right. Kapil ji कहते हैं news has flown by that they have stopped ISKCON personnel from crossing the borders, even if they have documents and passport. Is it true? It is, because now that this has come out in public domain, I'm going to say that there was a plan of evacuating all these guys. They are getting evacuated. Some of them have been stopped. अब देखिए यार, चुपचाप चीजें होती हैं, ये चीजें बाहर नहीं निकलती हैं, ठीक है. Now that this came into the public domain, so I'm saying this. But yeah, this is happening. There is evacuation of certain high risk individuals which are taking place from Bangladesh.
Yeah, that is true. So if they have stopped it, they know that they're trying to put pressure onto us. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah. विनय सिंह जी, थैंक यू. आदि भाई, शुरुआत में हमने गलती करी थी, बांग्लादेश की बॉडी में आर्मी लगाना चाहिए. Yes, I doubt the BSF on this side of the border. जिस तरह से स्मगलिंग होती है, I don't put a blanket doubt on anybody like that, यार. मैं ऐसे कभी I won't do that because there are uniformed armed force. There are incidents, fair enough, वो होते हैं चीजें, but I don't want to put a blanket ban. Trust you me, the BSF does a fantastic job there. And जिस तरह का भी crackdown चल रहा है towards Assam, Tripura, and West Bengal itself, the drugs and all that stuff that are getting cracked down is done by the BSF itself. Army cannot guard your border at all times, yaar. You'll have to kind of keep probably what 50 लाख की आर्मी रखनी पड़ेगी आपको तो फिर.
Yeah, BSF was basically made for that only. And the information BSF has on that side of the border, they are using it to their full advantage for now. So they are your best bet. Yeah.
Problem Saab, thank you so much, man. Seeing you after a long time. Thank you for the contribution. Says, if the deep state working is on East-West Pakistan to reverse what happened in 1971, Hasina in India and Assad in Russia, Trump hitting at BRICS, any correlation? Simple. Light the world on fire.
That's basically it. That sums it up. You gave a good answer. But that is true. The East and the West plan, we know the West Pakistan and the East Pakistan. East is becoming a new Pakistan. West is on a decline. They're crumbling under their own weight. So obviously, you need to keep, lighting intense fires around you so that you are not able to put those fires out very easily. So that is a part of the plan, part of the game. So yeah.
Osho Saab, thank you once again, says many have decided to attack Bangladesh medical visa tourists. Yeah, we discussed that. Once again, thank you. I mean, fund Ulfa, cookies and Rohingyas to hurt Bangladesh. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Look, it's a good thought, but then it's to the left to the being the Indian government very wise. These are double-edged swords. Never trust them. We have seen Pakistan being an example of doing that. So be very, very careful when you suggest something like this.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Last two, Srinivasji says, thank you so much. We love Rajaji and Aadi. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Keep up the good work. My question, will Bangladesh situation impact next year's West Bengal elections? It should, right?
It should. It will. But how much impact will it create on the ground? We'll have to wait and see. I think the Indian government will have to look at the CAA and its current rulings as well. And what we are doing for that. That is very, very important. Because there is a huge gap and a mismatch between what people on the ground are impacted with through immigration and what CA has offered. So there is a problem. I think the government of India needs to plug those gaps and needs to extend that for, especially for these kind of situations. We have to be very, very clear.
True. And last one, E. Thank you so much. Action post Delhi state elections. Iron hammer. Then your guess is as good as mine.
I don't think. Yeah, but I don't think Delhi elections is is something which we are considering iron hand then or not. I don't think we are linking it to elections, and we should not be. Look, these are serious geopolitical issues, and linking them with internal politics spoils things. So I am somebody who always says that you have to deal with your national security and geopolitical issues separately. Don't make them into domestic political issues. Yes, you can gain out of them, but timing should not be. Timing should be as per your national security interest and not as per your political interest. That has always been my take.
Fantastic. Rajaji, thank you so much for taking all the time. Always a pleasure talking to you. And before we sign off, let's end on a little funny note. I want to show you Bangladesh's latest innovation of a fighter jet. This is it. Yellow painted, fresh out of the mint. अब ये क्यों yellow paint करा है ताकि यार गुम गाम गया तो कहीं ढूंढना में आसान हो जाता है. ठीक है. So
this is a joke.
Yeah. So, thank you so much. Yeah. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. And sorry for being late. Thank you.
No problem.